Let's cross over to our London studios where my colleague Juliana Olayinka is standing by to bring us up to speed about, well, kind of summarizing the entire Brexit conundrum and where we are in the countdown to this weekend. So Queen Elizabeth's speech yesterday went to the Parliament, but how's the local media and everyone reacting to these developments? Juliana, good afternoon. Welcome to the show here. So let's chew Brexit around a little bit here. We heard from the Queen yesterday afternoon, but how has it been played out today?
Well, gosh, Bosun, we've heard the clock ticking before, but I think the clock is ticking exceptionally loudly today. And that's because the EU chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, he's been meeting with several EU leaders in Brussels today. And, for media outlets, it's pretty difficult. If you're in the newspaper business and you're not online, forget it. By the time you've printed your newspapers at about 4 o'clock in the morning, the story has changed at lunchtime. And that's exactly what's going on at the moment. It's very speculative. Every statement, every working lunch meeting really does count. Michel Barnier has said on camera that he does feel like a deal can be done, but he has given Boris Johnson and his chief negotiation team some hard deadlines. Of course, there are 16 days until Boris Johnson can fulfill his promise to the British people, which is to deliver Brexit. But of course, on Saturday, that's the deadline for the Benn Act, which makes it a legal requirement for him to seek an extension if he doesn't have one. And today, Michel Barnier said they need a legal framework. They need a legal text by midnight to deliver to the EU Council meeting, which begins on Thursday. So lots of hard deadlines for Britain at the moment. Negotiations have been forthcoming. Progress has been made, even though it's slow. So it's very difficult. How are the media trying to balance this? Really, really toughly.
That's all the big stories about the Parliament and the negotiators in London, in the Parliament, and of course in Brussels. But what is uppermost, Juliana, on the minds of Britishers right now about Brexit countdown? Is it the currency? Is it the budget? Is it the UK public debt? Is it inflation? Is it the stock market? Is it the currency? What exactly is on your mind?
It's another difficult question to answer, to be honest, Bosun. And that's really why a lot of people are supporting the backing of a general election or a second referendum. Those who believe in a general election believe that, look, you've got the Liberal Democrat Party who is saying they out and out don't support Brexit. So if you vote for them at the polls, you're really voting to revoke Article 50. Of course, you've got the Tories who want Brexit, well, most of them, the majority of them. And then you've got Labour who kind of are in the middle. So some say, let's do that. But then, of course, a general election isn't just about Brexit. There are lots of domestic policies that the UK must tear their teeth into. And we heard from some of them in the Queen's opening of Parliament speech yesterday. Some of them involve crime. I'm sure you must have heard in Nigeria that crime is at a critical point in the UK, especially knife crime, which is something some feel the government have turned their back on. The NHS, that relies on a lot of government funding. We haven't been speaking about that. So it's very interesting. When you speak to most normal people who are analysing on TV, these are really people that are representing businesses. And the majority of businesses are saying they want Brexit done, whether or not we leave or we don't leave, because the uncertainty at the moment is leaving Britain really in a paralysis that nobody wants. Everybody wants this whole saga to be over.
Very interesting. I can understand how you folks feel over there at the other side of the Atlantic. Thank you so much, Juliana Olayinka. Let's leave it there for today. Let's get back tomorrow morning. Continue the conversation from here. Thank you so much, my colleague from our London studios. Let's check in with the folks in the Asia Pacific, where the markets were a bit cautious today. Following the previous day's rally on Monday, new doubts emerged overnight about a partial US-China trade deal. In South Korea, the Kospi index closed fractionally higher. The Japanese Nikkei 225 jumped 1.87%, and the Topix index added 1.56% after Japanese markets were closed Monday for a long public holiday. The Chinese mainland markets, however, nosedive. The Shanghai Composite slipped 0.5%. The Shenzhen Composite declined much deeper, 1.1%. The Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index declined 0.11% in a late afternoon trade, and the Australia's ASX 200 wavered between fractional gains and losses and just up 0.14%. Okay, so you're looking at the U.S. markets, and it's not looking good just before the opening bell today on Wall Street. Looks a little bit positive early, but that is down because some of the big banks on Wall Street and in the world are reporting not so fantastic numbers. What do we have right now? We have JP Morgan, we have Wells Fargo and Citigroup reporting, and those earnings are beginning to hurt investor sentiment. As we speak, the Dow is down 0.11%. Forget those numbers on your TV screen. Right now, I'm looking at the Dow, 0.1% in the red, the S&P 500, 0.14% in the red, the NASDAQ, 0.10% in the red, Global Dow, 0.05% in the red, gold is down, oil price is down. What else is down? After the break, we'll let you know.